Right now, tens of thousands of feet above the frozen expanse of the North Pole, something invisible, colossal, and terrifyingly fragile is beginning to warp. It's an atmospheric vortex larger than entire continents, a spinning fortress of sub-zero air that holds the world's most lethal cold trapped at the top of the planet. But what happens when that fortress suddenly shatters? What happens when temperatures in the upper stratosphere jump by 60 degrees in a matter of hours and push the icy breath of the Arctic straight down into your neighborhood? This winter, atmospheric scientists are watching a cascade of planetary anomalies that point to one inescapable reality. The polar vortex is unstable. And when it buckles, millions of people won't just experience cold weather. They'll face a rapid, catastrophic freeze capable of crippling electrical grids, shutting down international supply chains, and turning modern infrastructure into frozen monuments in a matter of days. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself how prepared your city actually is if the power cuts out for 2 weeks in negative 30-degree weather? Are we watching a simple seasonal shift, or are we witnessing the permanent breakdown of our global weather engine? Before we dive into the mechanics of this looming crisis, make sure to hit that follow button right now. We track the high-stakes planetary changes that directly impact your life, and following this page ensures you stay informed before the storms hit. To understand why this winter carries such high catastrophic potential, we first have to clear up a massive scientific misconception. What actually is the polar vortex? The polar vortex isn't a single storm that rolls into town. It is a massive, low-pressure, counterclockwise spinning zone of freezing air that lives permanently in the stratosphere. Think of it as a giant, swirling atmospheric dam. As long as that dam spins fast and tight, it seals the absolute coldest air on Earth safely inside the Arctic Circle. Guarding that dam is the jet stream, a high-altitude ribbon of fast-moving air, driven by the extreme temperature difference between the icy pole and the warmer equator. When the contrast between the cold north and warm south is sharp, the jet stream flows like an impenetrable iron belt, rushing straight and fast from west to east. But what happens when that crucial temperature contrast vanishes? For decades, the Arctic was locked in deep ice. But over recent years, the polar region has been warming at nearly 4 times the rate of the rest of the planet. As sea ice disappears, dark open ocean water absorbs solar heat, releasing massive plumes of thermal energy up into the atmosphere during late autumn and early winter. This rising thermal energy creates gigantic atmospheric waves, known to meteorologists as planetary Rossby waves. These waves push upward, slamming into the stratospheric polar vortex like massive oceanic swells bashing against a seawall. And that is where the real danger begins. When these atmospheric waves transfer enough energy upward, they trigger a phenomenon known as Sudden Stratospheric Warming, or SSW. Imagine temperatures 30 miles above the Arctic, rising by 50 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit in just 48 hours. The thermal shock wave completely disrupts the spinning vortex. It slows down, wobbles off its axis, and in extreme cases, splits entirely into 2 or 3 smaller, chaotic vortexes. When the vortex shatters, the iron belt of the jet stream breaks with it. Instead of flowing in a tight circle, the jet stream begins to meander wildly, forming giant, deep troughs that curve south toward the equator. And what flows down those atmospheric highways? The Arctic Vault itself. Can you remember February 2021? That was a direct result of a disrupted polar vortex splitting and plunging deep into regions utterly unprepared for Arctic conditions. In Texas alone, millions lost power, water infrastructure froze solid, and hundreds of lives were lost in a matter of days. Now, meteorologists looking at atmospheric indicators for the upcoming winter season are noticing worrying parallels. Anomalous warm patches in the North Pacific and Atlantic Ocean currents, paired with rapid early-season snow cover expansion across Siberia, create the exact conditions required to blast the stratosphere with powerful Rossby waves once again. If a major polar vortex split occurs at the height of winter, we aren't just looking at a cold snap. We are looking at sustained, multi-week Arctic blockages that can drop temperatures 30, 40, or 50 degrees below seasonal averages. Why do atmospheric scientists use the word catastrophic when talking about extended polar vortex events? It isn't because humans can't handle cold. It is because our interconnected, just-in-time societal infrastructure was never engineered for prolonged deep freezes. Let's break down the domino effect. Domino 1. Energy grid overload. When extreme Arctic air pushes down to mid-latitudes, energy demand for heating skyrockets simultaneously across dozens of states or countries. Electric grids face record-breaking loads at the precise moment their supply lines are most vulnerable. Natural gas pipelines freeze at the wellhead because of moisture condensation, a process known as freeze-offs. Power plants lose the very fuel they need to keep the lights on. If an electrical grid drops below its operating frequency for even a few minutes, operators are forced to initiate rolling blackouts to prevent total grid destruction. Domino 2. The water crisis. Without electricity, residential heating systems shut down. Within 24 hours, indoor temperatures inside uninsulated homes plummet toward freezing. Water lines inside walls expand and burst. Municipal water plants lose pressure, causing back siphonage and contaminating citywide drinking water supplies. Domino 3. Supply chain stoppage. Our modern supply chains rely on constant, uninterrupted diesel trucking and rail transport. Deep freezes immobilize diesel fleets as fuel gels in tanks, hydraulic systems fail, and highways become impassable icy hazards. Diesel and food deliveries halt. How long could your household survive if local grocery store shelves were cleared out in 4 hours and stayed empty for 2 weeks? Whenever a polar vortex event plunges half a continent into historic cold, critics inevitably ask the same question. If global temperatures are rising, how can winter weather be getting this extreme? It sounds like a contradiction, but in climate physics, it is known as the Arctic paradox. Think of Earth's climate engine as a heavy, fast-spinning top. As long as it spins rapidly, it remains perfectly balanced and stable. Global warming doesn't mean winter simply disappears. Instead, warming reduces the gradient, the difference in temperature between the equator and the poles. As the poles warm faster, that fast-spinning top slows down. It loses its stability. It begins to wobble erratically. So while parts of North America or Europe are suffering through record negative temperatures, Arctic regions like Greenland or Alaska might simultaneously experience temperatures 30 degrees above normal. Extreme heat in the Arctic isn't replacing winter, it is unlocking it and sending it straight down to us. Are we witnessing the creation of a new normal where unpredictable, infrastructure-shattering winter events occur every single year? Understanding atmospheric physics is critical, but understanding how to safeguard your home and family before a polar collapse occurs is vital. When a severe polar vortex event strikes, emergency services will be overwhelmed within hours. You cannot rely on immediate assistance. Here are 3 essential steps you must take before temperatures drop. First, secure non-electric heating alternatives. If your primary heat relies on the electric grid, secure safe indoor-rated backup heat sources, such as indoor-safe propane heaters or heavy-duty sub-zero sleeping gear. Ensure you have carbon monoxide detectors with fresh battery backups. Second, master water isolation. Locate your main water shutoff valve today. If your power cuts during sub-zero temperatures, shutting off your main valve and draining your plumbing lines prevents catastrophic pipe bursts that can destroy your home. And third, store a 2-week off-grid supply. Move past the idea of preparing for a weekend storm. Store non-perishable foods that require minimal water or heat to prepare. And store at least 1 gallon of clean drinking water per person, per day. The Earth's atmosphere is a delicate balance of immense forces. As we continue to shift that balance, the systems that kept our climate predictable for thousands of years are transforming before our eyes. The polar vortex isn't just a weather headline. It is a reminder of how deeply connected our daily lives are to the fragile balance of the sky above us. What step are you going to take today to ensure your family is ready if the grid goes down this winter? Let us know down in the comments below. Your tip could help someone else prepare in time. If you found this deep dive insightful, hit that follow button right now. By following this page, You join a community dedicated to understanding our changing planet, breaking down complex environmental science, and staying ahead of the critical events shaping our world. Stay safe, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next video.